afternoon, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Sunday Spin. My name is Vinny G, and each week the Sunday Spin is brought to you by our great sponsors. That's Grooves Records in San Francisco, USA. A shout out to our friend Kevin up there. And of course, What's Left Records in Colorado Springs, keeping it real in the 719. As always, I'm joined by my co-host. He's the host of Greno's Groove Yard on KCOS Digital Media every Monday afternoon, a show not to be missed. Greno, how are you this afternoon, buddy?
I'm great, man. Good to see you, Vinny. And
Thank you.
really excited about today's show, man.
Okay, real
Really
quick,
excited.
before we introduce our host, I want to wish Glenn a happy belated birthday as we weren't on last Sunday. But Glenn, how did you spend the day? I'm sure our listeners would be interested to hear about that real quick.
Oh, man, I appreciate you, Vin. No, it was a good day, man. Turned 53 and got to spend the evening playing a benefit concert for a man that had died last year. I'm a prominent guy in the community. Not a musician per se, but a huge fan of music here in Colorado Springs and huge supporter of the scene for a long time. Worked at independent records like so many people have here in Colorado Springs. So yeah, it was nice to celebrate him. Jammed with the Glass Parade and some other artists played that night. Chuck Snow, and yeah, it was just a good night. Had some good Chinese food, and yeah, it was really cool. And so yeah, thanks for asking, Vinny. And man, I'm really excited, man. I go back almost, I would say, 3 decades with this guy, Chris
Yeah,
Strom.
yeah.
Chris, come to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Chris has been really busy with a new band slash project. I say project because it's a one-man show, but he's doing so
Yeah,
many great things with this. And Chris, we
appreciate
want
it.
to congratulate you on all your work on Son of Snake. And yeah, can't wait to talk to you all about it. And how did your musical journey start, though? Like, what was the first record that you bought with me?
Well, thanks for having me, and happy birthday.
Thank you,
Thanks for
brother.
having me, Vinny and Greno.
Our pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for everybody that's watching. It started with me. I mean, when I was really little, I remember really loving the Knack, My Sharona. That really got me
Hmm.
going on music. I think at an early age, and I heard a lot of Led Zeppelin growing up, and things like that, Bob Dylan and whatnot. But my first kind of venture into kind of what I'm doing now was probably, I think I was maybe 12, and I bought Black Flag, Who's Got the 10.5, and maybe it's that first Suicidal Tendencies album. Poison Idea, I think I bought that same summer. Kings of Punk, I came from the metal community. I was into like black metal and death metal before Venom and whatnot. But yeah, something clicked when I heard punk rock for the first time. And so that got me picking up an instrument. I think my aunt bought me my first bass when I was about that age, a little cheap court bass. I put a big Dark Angel sticker on it, I remember. But I started just jamming to the music, trying to figure it out. Didn't know how to tune it. I would get mad and throw it across the room every once in a while, but I started jamming, and then one day, I think it was in 10th grade, I was jamming with these two guys, the Yost brothers. They were from Sacramento, but they moved to Santa Rosa. And this guy, Paris Welch, who was a skater guy I knew, said, "Hey, I can get us a show if I sing for your band." And we're like, "Well, do you know what?" No, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's punk rock. Who cares? And about maybe a week or two later, we had our first gig, and it was with, I think, Victims Family and Capitalist
Yeah.
Casualties and Insanity Puppets. And it was at
What a
Sons of Norway Hall on 9th Street. It was packed. I mean, all these gangbangers showed up, and it was a pretty crazy show. And I was, ever since then, I've just been doing it,
Fabulous.
So it's just, through the years, different bands, Double Ugly, and I just posted a picture of them today. That was in the late 80s, I believe. you know, and then after that, you know, Double Ugly's drummer, Justin, and we did this sort of, I guess it was, I don't know, like an indie rock slash kind of grunge thing in the early 90s. And then a few years later, we started Snag, and that went for about a decade. That was in Santa Rosa.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lot of fun. You know, we had, I think, maybe 10 albums, and, you know, played a lot of local shows, didn't tour or anything like that because he owned a screen printing company and couldn't really get out of town too much. And that started sort of fizzling out. We went through so many different members, lost some to some tragedies and things like that. But then I started Flesh Gordo in, I think, 2012, so I can tour. You know, I wanted to tour before I got too old, you know. And we kind of toured up and down the West Coast and did a couple like small releases, but played some big shows, played with Poison Idea, and had a lot of fun with it, you know. And then, you know, I kind of sort of started taking care of my wife with her health problems, and kind of took some time off, and then we moved to Oregon, and I started doing this. So that's pretty much the story. The long story.
Fabulous. Great answers, Chris. And
Great.
you know, speaking of what you're doing up in Oregon now, I really want to make a point of saying how big a fan I've become in such a short period of time. Hearing you on Grooveyard every Monday. I mean, what you're doing is just phenomenal.
I appreciate it.
I understand you're doing most of this from the home. Strictly a one-man project? Any kind of?
Just me. Yeah. I have a iPad. You know, I started writing these songs before I had an iPad. I did it on my phone then.
Mm-hmm.
Started on BandLab, and it was okay. It's definitely some rough demo quality. You could hear it on the early YouTube songs. And started doing research. You know, we always went to studio. I didn't know how to do any of this.
Right.
You know, so I'm green the whole way. Like even live streaming today, I wasn't sure if this was going to work on my iPad. So it's all a test, you know? But yeah, I got the iPad, I think for Christmas, I believe, from my mom and my wife. And, you know, I got you know, I was always a bass player, but you know, through the years, I wrote on guitar because I would bring these songs I wrote on bass to practice, and everyone would be like, what am I going to do to that? You know, because I'm kind of a busy bass player. And so I got a Pure Salem guitar, which I'm really loving. And so I've been doing it on the iPad, and, you know, I just kind of program the drums. At first I do it with a real basic drum track, and I try to go through and segment it all off and accent as much as I can with a, you know, artificial drummer. But yeah, it's all me on guitar and vocals and bass.
Super. Some kind of a processing unit, a Behringer or something like that to feed the live instruments through as well.
I just have like a Focusrite cheapo.
Yeah.
You know,
Nothing wrong with those. Yeah.
2-channel deal and cheap microphone. I just kind of started at the bottom. Eventually I'll step up, but, you know, for what I'm doing, I think it's okay for now. I did hear that Logic is available on iPad now. So
as of this week, yes.
Yeah, sir. I might make the move to that because I know it's better quality. So, well, I'm just learning this. So
the beautiful thing about it, Chris, is it really is the magic equation, the hybrid, if you will.
Yeah.
And Glenn and I, obviously, you know, working at a distance for as long as we've had to get adjusted to the other side of being a songwriter, composer, musician, whatever you want to call it. And that is doing it in the 21st century.
Yeah, definitely.
And it is fascinating, but I love the fact that the creative process, if anything, through this age has gotten better, and the quality has gotten better, and we're hearing better and better products from people who maybe didn't have the resources before.
Absolutely.
And I think that's huge, because I do think anybody can do this now. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Absolutely. You know, you used to have to pay a lot of money to go into studio to get something that you didn't necessarily even like the end product of sometimes, you know, and, you know, no disrespect to anybody. I mean, everyone's doing their best or whatever, but, you know, we all have our sound that we like. And you know, there's a lot of really, really talented people out there that I've met through Conspiracy Music, Clay and Chad Freeman and these guys. And there's all these insanely talented musicians that are finally getting some recognition, at least through that local community. But I'm trying to get more people out there involved in it. You know, Glenn, I want to get you on there too. You know, they play pretty much, if you send Clay, you know, he likes doing videos, but he could do it without, you know, but send him something, even a cheapo little rotor video, and he'll play it, man. And it's really cool. It's a really good little community. Same with you guys and what you're doing. It's the same kind of deal. It's all positive, and I just really appreciate it. It's a breath of fresh air within the music community, you know, dealing with promoters and, you know, maybe even other bands or whatever, you know, there's a lot of competition, and I don't see that with what I'm doing now, at least, you know. I'm sure I will if I start gigging again soon, but you know, I just appreciate the positivity and the feedback, and it's good. It's really good.
And Chad is actually tuning in right now, so thank you, Chad. Got a couple messages from him.
What's up, Chad?
Thank you. So,
yeah, he's a cool guy. Him and Clay and just everybody over in that Conspiracy Music. And Chad runs Ham Radios on Facebook. It's a group, you know, for independent music. And I'm, you know, trying to get as many people I can to go over there too. And he's combined up with Clay on Conspiracy, and they're doing a great job over there.
And where are they based out of, Chris?
Well, they're both different areas. Like I think Clay is Utah, I believe, and Chad, I think, is Ohio. And this community, I mean, you have all these different people involved from all different countries and states, and you know, everywhere from Canada to Scotland. You know, it's a cool deal. South America, I believe, and so Fabulous. It's cool seeing all these musicians and what they produce, and they all have their own signature. And I just love that. You know, I love hearing the difference in the styles. You know, it's really cool.
Sure. And it's such a regional thing.
Punk rock, absolutely,
especially of any of the genres, has always been.
Absolutely.
Region.
Yeah,
and it's great to see that dividing line disappearing, that people aren't putting their feet in the sand, drawing a line and saying, okay, that's SoCal punk, this is East Coast punk.
Yeah.
And it is people like your friends there who are spreading the messages to the different parts of the nation. That is the unifying factor. So it's great to hear about Conspiracy.
Yeah, it's good. And you know, like I said, they don't play, they just play whatever kind of music. I mean, I'm talking, you know, country to like I guess it would be sort of Britney Spears pop to black metal to punk rock to they're playing everything, and it's really cool. I don't know, it's neat. It's neat being a part of that. You know, I'm so used to the segregation of music that I've been involved with in the past, you know, 30 years.
Certainly.
So it's cool seeing it mixed up a little bit, you know. But yeah, I agree with the different regions of punk rock. I mean, it's all very specific sounds. At least it was.
It was.
Yeah. Sure. You knew where someone was from by listening to them most of the time.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily the case anymore, Chris.
I don't think so either. You know, because you can hear it. I mean, I'm in Coos Bay, and you probably hear a lot of SoCal sound in my stuff. Maybe a little DC stuff too. You know.
Very much so. I'm glad you mentioned DC because that was my first thought.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't like a lot of that stuff, even the straight edge stuff. You know.
What?
Super.
Yeah, Chris, I'm curious what some of the influences. I mean, I know long term you have, you know, a lot of the punk, you know, influences and stuff, but I hear a lot of stuff in the Son of Snake. You know, more of a progressive sound. You know, a band like maybe like No Means No or like later Bag.
Yeah.
You know, kind of that different, more progressive, like layered.
Yeah, and I believe that's probably an effect of living in Santa Rosa. you know, because Victim's Family
Yeah.
was it.
I
When
know.
I was in high school, they were it. That was it.
Yeah.
You know, and
Ralph's
like,
the man. Still is. Yep.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So and I, you know, I know that like when No Means No had come through town, they didn't like playing after Victim's Family. You know, they were creating this whole thing, and it kind of inspired everybody from that area to kind of go outside of the box a little bit, at least with their playing, you know, and that's definitely has a little bit of my influence in there too, is things like that, you know. My bass playing I have a hard time sitting still on the neck.
Oh, your bass playing is amazing, though. It's like
Thank you.
it really. If you listen, I want everyone to go check out Son of Snake on YouTube and all the other platforms,
Thank you.
and check out Chris's bass playing. I mean, it's so melodic and like I can't even like. I mean, you know, my favorite bass players are people like Mike Watt, people like Steve
Yeah,
McDonald. You know, it's that hummability of the bass line, and like, oh man, Chris, you have it in spades. I can just follow the bass line and like listen to what you're doing, and like,
Thank you.
and then there's some counterpoint going on with guitar. It's very complex music, but it's so fun. And one thing I want to talk about, I know Vinny's curious too, is this isn't music that's just like, you know, the message of the lyrics is, oh, drank last night and partied with my friends. No, there's very specific messages going on. So we'd like to hear more about that and your journey with some of your lyrics that you're doing now.
It's you know, without going into sorry, my phone's going crazy here.
You're good.
Without going into too much weirdness, because I do walk a spiritual path now. A few years ago, my cousin uncle, you know, I have native blood, and my uncle is he's both on both sides of his family. You know, he's from Standing Rock, Hunkpapa, I believe, and he kind of calls me one time and goes, "Hey, where you been?" And I go, "Well, what do you mean?" Because I hadn't really ever met him. And he goes, "We've been waiting for you." And I go, "Huh?" You know, I didn't know. I was raised in just a normal, you know, white family or whatever. Didn't have any spirituality. And he goes, "Yeah, we've been waiting for you. You're an important part of this puzzle, you know." And I go, "What?" You know, and then we talked, and it kind of, at the time I was still like drinking and doing all that stuff. And I thought about it. And a couple months later, I call him back and I go, what do you mean by that? And he goes, "Well, our grandmother was born with the gift." And I go, "The gift?" She had these psychic abilities. She was an Indian princess born on Turtle Mountain Reservation, and a long line of spiritual women that were before her country clan women. Utinoasis is she was the spiritual leader for both the Chippewa, the Pembina Nation, and the Bedewa-Contawan Dakota Nation, which was really rare because they're arch enemies. And she was very, very important. Had these strong connections to, I guess you'd say, the other side, or this other realm. And without getting too woo-woo on you guys. But he said that when he was little, she told him that he was going to be what brought the family home in the future. So to learn the old ways. You know, she was a Christian, but it's because she was forced to be. And so he's been learning this whole time. And now he's got these things, these crazy abilities that I can't explain. Hummingbirds land in his hand. You know, and he knew I was going to be a grandpa before anyone knew they were pregnant. He gave me this bag that said Lala with medicine in it, all these different medicines, you know, like natural, you know, sage and roots and things. And it said Lala on it, which means grandpa. And I thought it was an old used bag. He didn't say nothing. Months later, I have the same bag of medicine to have a ceremony with my grandson when he was born. And I realized, wait a minute. Could he have known? So I call him up and he goes, "Yeah, what do you mean? Thought you knew." He knew. So it's like,
wow.
It was like, what? you know, so it kind of got me on the spiritual path, and it's called Walking the Red Road. And, you know, I'm very green at that too. I'm just kind of getting started. So a lot of that's coming through my lyrics, you know, that there's more to this universe, that we are one. We're not divided like we're taught to believe. We're not all enemies. We're all just brothers and sisters, just being taught different things. So I'm trying to get that message out there, some awareness, positivity,
Yes.
you know, but there also are some warnings about some of the things that are happening without getting too graphic. I don't.
And that's what I want. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, Chris, is the message is there for you to take.
Yes.
But it's by no means preachy. You know,
No.
I'm trying to not
genuine, and it's positive, and it's a breath of fresh air, frankly.
Well, thank you. That's kind of what I'm trying to do.
I think you're succeeding, my friend.
I appreciate that. And I'm just kind of letting people find that, you know, like get pulled in by the music, and then maybe they'll listen to it more and realize that there is something more going on there. So
Definitely.
that's my goal. You know,
that's
awesome.
Excellent.
I appreciate it. You know, if the way I figure is, if I have any kind of platform, small or large or medium or whatever, I might as well use it for a good thing now, you know?
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't always before, you know, I had pretty messed up views when I was younger. So, so I'm just trying to make good, you know?
Fabulous. And like I said, I think you're succeeding. The message is there.
Appreciate
Positivity is everything right now. It's what this world needs.
Absolutely.
And any manner that you can bring it through right now has got to be not only appreciated and applauded, but we need to take it to the next level. And you're a shining example of that, Chris.
Well, I appreciate it, you know, and I could see why some people would be real negative these days. I understand.
Right.
You know, I was a negative person for most of my life. But, you know, I'm just trying to say there's something here for you, and you're not alone. You know, there's a way out. If I was able to find a way out, anybody can. Anybody.
Exactly.
So that's kind of my point and my view. You know, it's, you're not alone. You know, you're not alone. There's a way out, and there's something better.
Magnificent.
Excellent. Yeah, that's great.
Appreciate it.
I want to thank too the people that are tuning in right now. We're getting a lot of awesome comments from Chad, and is it Pukey Ann R? Is that how you say?
Yeah. She's involved she's in all the live streams over there and the whole community.
Thank you guys.
Real supportive.
And they also both of them signed up for our Technicolor Dreams YouTube channel. So we want to yes, thank you. Good fun stuff coming up. We're gonna have a great summer of really cool stuff. And Chris, we'd love to repost some of your videos on our YouTube channel as well to get you some extra traction and stuff. That I wanted to talk a little bit about your latest video, the Wi-Fi one. It's really cool. It's like futuristic, different, and I want you also to let people know how they can access your videos and your music.
Okay, so yeah, that video, I just, you know, I signed up for that Rotor video through Chad's buddy mentioned that, you know, and I just sort of found images that kind of fit what the song was kind of about, you know, and it was about even myself kind of being too involved in technology, you know, and I find myself getting sucked in, and I'm sure most people do nowadays. And it's called Scrambled by Wi-Fi is what the name of the song is. And it's just sort of almost a reminder to myself, but maybe for everyone else too, that, you know, there's other things that are important. Sometimes just step away and experience what's around you instead of just what's in the screen, you know? And you know, the way the AI is getting huge now, and that's kind of involved in that. And I believe there might be some benefits from AI, but there are also probably some maybe possible bad things with it too. So I guess that's up for debate. But you know, that's kind of what the song was about and the video.
Yeah,
and they could what's that? Sorry.
Oh, I like the video. Yeah, it's really cool. You really tie in the theme of the song and what you're talking about here. So yeah, I definitely recommend people go and check it out on YouTube. You got a really cool YouTube channel out there.
Thank you. And that's
Mhm.
it's at Chris Flesh 5775.
Okay.
Is the YouTube page. And then I'm also on Facebook, Son of Snake. I think it's Son of Snake Band, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Son of Snake Band. And then also you could also get a hold of me, Chris Strong, on Facebook. Same thing on Instagram. I have it both. I have my own page and then just the dedicated music page. I tend to put music on both, and I hope I'm just not oversaturating everybody, but I figured more
Oh, it's
people that
great.
can hear a good message, maybe the better. They could turn it off if they don't want to hear it. So
Amen.
It's
Amen.
great,
And
man.
the Bandcamp page, Chris, do you have a Bandcamp page?
I do, and that I'm still kind of learning. Actually, I mentioned that to Glenn that I might need some help with that. I'm really not very, good at technology, to be honest with you. I'm learning still. I got to maybe once my grandson gets older, call him up and tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah,
that's how it's
the
going to
Bandcamp is also Son of Snake. Sorry to interrupt there.
No, you're good.
So yeah, I think I only have maybe 2 or 3 songs on there.
And excited to let people know too, Vinny. I don't think you even know this. We're going to be putting out a Son of Snake 3-song single on. It'll be digital. We're going. Initially, the idea was to do a split with Wabash Cannons, but since they just released the full length, I think they're kind of like in that mode right now. And Chris is just releasing in a flurry. And so we want to catch fire in this bottle. And so we're really excited. In this next month, we're going to be putting out 3 songs. Kick-ass too, Chris. I listened to it the other day. I'm like, man, this is going to be a great addition to the Anonymous Collective catalog. So
awesome.
Thank you for that. And we're looking forward to working more with you too.
Absolutely. I'm ready to collab with you and try to get that all figured out, how to do that remotely.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. We're going to make that happen.
Yep. Absolutely. That's cool. That's very exciting news, actually, because like I said, I've been following you every Monday on the Groove Yard, and you never disappoint. You never fail to amaze. So yeah, welcome to the greatest little independent label that nobody knows about.
Thank you.
That's only temporary, right?
Thanks for having me.
We're just getting this started. We want to give a shout out to the Jays too, Jesse Wickman and Jay Hamilton. Jesse's been on the show. Yes, a phenomenal drummer, human being. Jesse, we love you. And then Jay's out in Jersey. Jay, we love you. You got awesome family, little G and his wonderful girlfriend, Sarah. So yeah, thank you guys.
And Jay is not pumping his own glass. That's that we can tell you, right? That's a Jersey inside joke. Can't pump the gas in New Jersey. So
we're Jersey strong, baby, on this show. We got people from. I don't think we've had. Well, my dad lives in Oregon, so technically we've had a guest from Oregon, but he's soon he's relocating. So and I'll have some news about that. But wanted to let you guys know, Son of Snake will be featured tomorrow on the Groove Yard, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So yeah, new music Monday, baby. So man. New let's see, gosh, so we're gonna have some new Son of Snake, Wabash Cannons. Rick just released a new song. It's fantastic, by the way. Rick, great job. It's just vocals and keyboards, the a la Rick classic style. We got some new prefab soul. We got a new side project that I've been working on with my friend Ev called Color of Space. So all kinds of cool new music. Chris, I'm playing 1980. That song. I love it so much. Like Chris has dude, you have like anthemic songs. I love it. It's so man. I'm so.
I appreciate that. That's one of my earlier ones I wrote with this project, and it was I wanted it to be a little bit more just straightforward and just a driving da 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 da, you know, and give it sort of a SoCal sound with some harmonies on guitars and whatnot. So I've had some feedback on that song in particular. So that's cool. And that's, you know, it's almost like demo quality of that one a little bit, but that kind of gives it a good little personality, I guess.
Awesome.
It absolutely does. It harkens back to the time perfectly, you know, and it's just like, it's great. I've been so stoked on Son of Snake. It's really been great playing you on the Groove Yard and just seeing the progression that you're doing, and then also just that it's got some meat and potatoes to it. You know, there's a message there. There's a spiritual base. Man, I'm just so stoked for you, Chris, and I'm so excited to see what you're going to come up with next. You're writing music in a flurry, my friend. It's amazing how prolific you're being. Keep it up.
Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate it. I've always kind of been that way, and I think it always drove my bandmates nuts because they always said, "Dude, it doesn't give anybody a chance to remember a set because it's always changing." You know,
Right.
But I just can't stop writing. It's just I'm born to do it, I guess. And then now up here with having access to recording, basically, it's just boom, boom, boom. You know, so I enjoy it, man.
Joke in the calls, buddy, because the world is listening, right?
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, before we sign off, because we are getting low on time, you know, it's always very important that Greno and I let you have your shout out, whatever that might be. If you want to say hi to some friends, spread one quick message to the world.
Well, I like to thank you guys first of all for having me and for supporting me over at the Groove Yard and the Anonymous Collective.
Yeah.
Clay and Chad over at Conspiracy Music, they've really been supportive. 100%, and I appreciate all the help that they've given me. Oh, real quick, there's Chad has his own YouTube channel that he just started, Ham Radio.
Okay.
So Chad Freeman, look him up on YouTube, and he's doing a punk show, like celebration of punk rock, on June 3rd at 5 p.m. Pacific. I have so it's like all subgenres of punk rock, but it's all independent artists, either doing originals or covers.
What a nice idea!
Yeah, so I'm doing a Wipers song.
Oh, cool.
And I'm doing an original, so I'll have two on there. But I've got Right to Remain from Santa Rosa is going to be on there. M Section, Wabash Canyons, I got them on it. I believe they're going to be on it. So
love
it. And then, just a bunch of other bands that I've probably never heard of, but come check it out. June 3rd, 5 o'clock Pacific. Look up Chad Freeman on YouTube. And, just all my friends, Jesse Wickman, what's up? Thank you. And everyone else watching. My wife, my mom, I appreciate all their support. My mom for putting up with me as a young kid and being crazy out in the front of the house, just banging on my instruments all the time. But she never told me to stop. She's one of those rare parents that was like, do it. As bad as I was. I appreciate it. My wife, Allie, for always supporting me, always being there, and just whatever I feel like I need to do, she's like, do it. Just do it. But just everybody that's always been there, all my old friends and everybody listening, I just appreciate it. And I think this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'd like to do a shout out to that. Anyone that's suffering, just know that you're not alone. There's a lot of help out there through social media and whatnot. And just hang tough. I know it's hard. I deal with some of those same issues myself. And a lot of my friends do too. So just shout that out, stay strong, and just know you're loved and not alone.
Beautiful.
That's a great message, Chris. Thank you for saying that. Vinny, this has been a wonderful show. We've covered as much ground as we've covered on this show, topic wise. We've covered new ground today, thanks to Chris, and it's just been a great journey. I can't wait to this is one show that I'm actually going to go back and watch. I usually don't, and it has nothing to do with the guests. It's just I don't like my vibe usually, but this is one I'm going to go back and
That's
check
like
out
my
for
own voice
sure.
on recording. Yeah. I appreciate
Oh man, yeah,
So-
you did a wonderful job.
Well,
And,
it's been fun chatting with you guys.
Yeah, well, and we look forward to having you back on again, Chris, for sure. And keeping up with everything that you're doing with Son of Snake, and also the Anonymous Collective releases that we're gonna be having you a part of as well. Quick shout out to Nikki. She's at Punk Rock Bowling this weekend. You can
Nikki.
follow her on Facebook. Some crazy pictures. She's met a lot of folks, made a lot of connections with her bandmates. So she's over there having fun in Vegas. Nikki, will look forward to having you back
next week.
That's right. She will.
Yeah.
She will.
And then next week we got Smitty on the show. So we're looking forward. The drummer of Kyle Chatham and the Road Shot.
Yeah.
And he's also putting a new solo album. So we're really looking forward to that. And Jesse, thank you. Jesse said, killer show, y'all. Maybe we can get you and Jesse on the show and talk about some of the Snug recordings and things like that. That would be really fun. Let's think about that for a future show.
That'd be great.
And
Maybe I could
Chris,
pictures. I could find some old pictures.
that would be awesome. Yeah, turn back the Santa Rosa clock. We got a lot of folks. It's great hearing stories because, I lived out there too for, 15 years. So it's awesome to hear old stories. And Chris and I, that's how we met. We worked together and just started talking about punk rock. And we didn't really talk about that, but that's Chris. Our connection is definitely punk rock and keen scenes. A little wild times in our lives. But
very
Ralph
very,
and Craig. But man, Chris. Thank you so much, Chris, for making a wonderful show. And yay, Jesse's down for the snag thing. So
cool.
And Pecan, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for all the wonderful comments today. Turn into the Grooveyard because you're going to hear Son of Snake tomorrow and a bunch of other really kick-ass new music. And Vinny, I love you, man. As always, you've made my birthday special, my brother. It was great to hang out with you a couple weeks ago. Let's do it again, and let's get this. You guys come out to Colorado. Everybody come out to Colorado. Let's play some shows together. All right?
Sounds like a winner.
I got the venues, man. I got the Oscar brothers right here. So let's do it. All right, you guys, be kind, be good, be yourself. We'll see you next week on the Grooveyard. Thank you so much.
Thank you.